We've got huge environmental problems, we've got dwindling resources, and maybe we have to work out a better way to coexist on this planet.
Organisations are starting to ask the question, what can they do? They're learning what others have done around the world in this space of responsible business. So that's getting organisations started on their journey.
Corporate social responsibility is one of the movements towards how organisations should change. The other thing I look at and think about is, how do you get change in society? And business is a core engine of change, mainly because of the economic power that business has.
We are part of the whole, and what we as individuals do affect everybody else. The decisions we make in business affect our staff, they affect sometimes the communities in which we live, so we have to remind ourselves that we're part of the whole and we can't make decisions in isolation any longer, particularly when it comes to profitability at any price.
Business is a fantastic tool because you can take all of the traditional tools and techniques of business and apply them for a different purpose. And in my view, you can bring about longer term social change using business creatively and ethically.
We're a small, medium enterprise, an SME, and there aren't too many SMEs who are in this regime at the present time. But I think we've proved that with a little effort, sustainability and corporate responsibility is not only good for the company and the community, but it's good for the staff, it's good for the management, it's good for the shareholders, and it's good for the country.
Those who appreciate the opportunities that CSR, which is a very broad tent, that the CSR brings, get involved in the shaping of the regulation, which is always about 1 or 2 years behind what the early adopters are doing. Those that don't get that, unfortunately, are simply forced to live the regulatory life that's left behind by the people who've gone ahead of them.
CEOs need to realise that if they want to keep their profits, then they need to look at the environmental impacts, because it's not only consumers who are going to reject their products, but it's also regulators.
A sustainable business operates in such a way that it will have a market tomorrow, it'll have customers tomorrow, it'll have staff tomorrow, rather than simply profit today. Sustainable businesses recognise that they're here for the long haul.
They see the profits being made. They want to know the difference that's being made. How many children are you benefiting? How many homeless are being housed? How many starving people are being fed?
We're herd animals, we're herd animals, humans, and so it's really nice when, when somebody can just provide a little bit of leadership and say, right, let's go this way just on this instance, and people really like that sort of, I think sort of like to be, get a lot of comfort from getting involved in those sorts of things in the community and sort of being part of the herd. It really gives you a sense of community and connection to the people you live next door to every day.
They'll lose trust in the products, they'll stop purchasing, which will affect profits. So I think CEOs need to take these risks really seriously.
In many companies, the most successful programs have started by the staff. Hewlett-Packard's been a great example. They started their CSR program by a few staff, not senior management, but just staff around a lunchroom table, just chatting. Maybe we can do something to make a difference.
Our organisation, it's not your typical executive corporate structures of board, CEO, staff, volunteers. We've sort of tipped that upside down a bit. And we've got an organisation that's driven by this body of people we call the organising group. The staff and board would see ourselves more as servants to the organising group rather than the other way around. And I think that empowerment of people on the organising side of things has driven a lot of things that have happened at our event that's very good in hindsight. When we did that sort of organisation and we created that organising group structure, we did it for marketing reasons, but the outcome that's come out of that has been much stronger and much more powerful than what we had imagined.
There's a groundswell of demand from particularly younger people in the workforce, who say, well, why am I working in a business that's not carbon neutral? Why am I working in a business that doesn't serve me fair trade coffee? Why am I working in a business that you know, uses paper plates rather than using China? Little things like that.
At the end of the day, what sort of legacy are we all leaving for our grandchildren? I think our children will be okay, but what sort of legacy will there really be for our grandchildren?
So life as we know it is going to change. I don't think that means the end of life, but the way we live, it means the end of that. And I felt profoundly sad about that.
There are some that are feeling very overwhelmed about the issues, particularly the environmental issues, but in some ways, what an exciting time to be alive. We can create the future that we want to create. Let's dream. Let's create the ultimate. We now have insight from our history in terms of what's possible. We've got great technology. So how do we want to live our lives? We can fix this. We need the vision, we need the leadership, we need the tenacity to make those hard, tough decisions. But how exciting is it? So I'm actually excited about what's ahead.